Inheritance issues with siblings, family dispute over property. Today we're going to talk about the 6 reasons that heirs will have a dispute over inherited property. We're going to talk about that right after this. Hello and welcome back. My name is Chip Carmack, real estate agent and certified probate expert. Today's topic is inheritance issues with siblings and family dispute over property. There's a famous saying that says, "Don't say that you know another entirely until you have split an inheritance with them." Sounds like something Dear Abby might have said, but it's actually from a German philosopher in the 1700s, and it's just as true today as it was back then. Before we dive into the 6 reasons why heirs will have a tendency to fight over property or a will, I'd like to give a word of advice. This was given to me from an attorney. Years ago, I went through a very painful divorce, and I had a very wise attorney. And basically what he said, and it applies very much to inheritances as well, is that you have a pile of money, and it's sitting on a table. And when you get attorneys involved, the pile of money doesn't get any bigger. All it does is get divided up into more to each of the attorneys. So the family members get less and less, and the attorneys get more and more. So I don't know about you, but I don't care how mad I would be with my siblings. I would much rather see my siblings get money than to give it to a stranger from outside the family, an attorney. So nothing against attorneys, but this is family money, and to me it should stay in the family. So that's my words of advice, is just remember, the pot doesn't get any bigger. The more the dispute goes on, it just gets smaller and smaller because the money is going to strangers, outsiders, going to attorneys. Okay, there are 6 main reasons why family members will get into a dispute over an inheritance. Make sure you stay tuned for the final 2 because they're probably the most common reasons. The first reason is because one or more of the heirs is surprised by the will or the inheritance. And not in a good way. They usually think that they're going to get more than they're going to get. And unfortunately, because they're surprised, they're hurt, and they're more likely to hold a grudge and not process through these feelings very well because they are surprised and they're hurt and angry. The second reason that heirs will get into a dispute is because they don't have a relationship. They don't really know each other, and they don't have an ongoing relationship. They could be estranged for many years, or a perfect example is a stepmother. She's married the father passes away, the stepmother is involved, and she doesn't have a good relationship with the stepchildren. So that's going to create some hard feelings when it comes time to split up money, because they don't really have a loving, caring relationship where they are thinking about the other person. They're going to be thinking about themselves. The third reason that families get into a dispute is greed, just plain simple greed. The will may be evenly divided. Say there's 4 siblings and they're each getting their fair share. They're each getting 25%, but one of them may feel like they deserve more. Maybe the oldest one felt like they were there more for the parent that passed away. They were there at the end, and they did a lot of extra things, and so they feel like they deserve more, and they're willing to fight for it. And hopefully not. Hopefully they did what they did out of love, and not for a financial reward, but in order to honor the parent that passed away. An example of what could be considered greed in a family squabble is that under Florida law, the personal representative or executor is entitled up to 3% of the estate in order to perform the duties of the personal representative. So, if it's a big estate, say $1 million, that's $30,000. And while the personal representative may feel like, I'm doing this job is a pain in the rear end, and I'm the one doing it, and my brother's not, so yeah, I'm entitled to that $30,000. But what kind of animosity is that going to create? Maybe the other brother will be fine with it, but it would be a good idea to have a discussion about it and hopefully you guys will see, or girls will see, things eye to eye and not squabble over it, because that's the last thing that the person that left the money to you would want. They're not wanting to create problems, they're wanting to help you, and that's why they left your money. So hopefully you'll keep that in mind and try to get along as much as possible. The fourth reason that you could have a family dispute is because the legal documents are vague or ambiguous, or they may even be inaccurate. A perfect example is, say, a will was made with one attorney many years ago, and then it was amended at a later date by another attorney. Say it was somebody that he knew from through work or golf or something like that, and then maybe the will got amended again by a third lawyer who was cheap and willing to do it quickly. And so now you've got three different lawyers, and it's not necessarily any one attorney's fault, but you've got a document that could be very difficult to figure out because you've had three different attorneys working on it. A lot of times when preparing wills, that's just a side note, the best thing to do is not to get too exact. Meaning, there's been examples where somebody meaning well would put in there that the money's going to be put into a trust, and or they're going to receive the money on a certain periods of time, say every 5 years, and the amount that they're going to get is going to be affected by the cost of living increase, and they get really, really specific, and it can actually create problems because it's open to interpretation. So the best thing to do is to just basically say Susie gets 25% and Jimmy gets 25% and Ralph gets 25% and Janie gets 25%, and then just make it nice and simple. The more complicated the will gets, the more problems, potential problems can arise. The fifth reason that families can have a dispute is because one of the participants is not going to play by the rules. In a case that I've got going right now, no names mentioned, that's exactly what's going on. And it also ties in with number 6, which is there's not clear communication among the family members after the decedent or the person that passed away. In this particular case that I have right now, the father passed away. He wasn't having a great communication with one of his children, and the other child knew that the father passed away and didn't say a word to his sibling. And of course, once the sibling found out through a non-family member, she was hurt and mad and suspicious, because why wasn't her brother telling her about, at least tell her that her father died? And anyway, I could sit here and point fingers, but the truth is, what it's done is create suspicion, because why didn't the brother tell the sister? And then all of a sudden things are going missing, cars are being retitled, out of the father's name into the son's name, and there is a will. And it's going to play out in court, but anyway, it can happen. So that's the 5 and 6 reason, is you might have somebody that's not going to play by the rules. He's not going to wait for the will to be read, that he's just going to take what he can take and then figure out later. So, and then clear communication in anything is always a good idea, especially among family members. Hopefully, if you even if you have a strained relationship, if your parent passes away, hopefully you can have some human kindness and call your siblings and tell them that your father passed away and you thought that they should know. Well, that's it for this week's video. I hope that you found it helpful and informative, and I hope that it keeps you, if you're going through this situation with siblings, I hope it keeps you out of spending a lot of money and time with attorneys instead of trying to get along and keep the money in the family. So if you like this video, please subscribe. Please hit the like button. Please subscribe. I always ask that you subscribe, not for me, but to show Google or YouTube that Google owns YouTube, that you like this video, and it also helps other people to find this this video as well. So if you want to see the next video that comes out next week, hit the bell-shaped icon, which is for notification, and you'll get a notification that a new email is dropped. So until next time, stay healthy and stay safe.